within the context of the league, I have definitely felt more embraced as a queer person
Uh-huh.
than I have as a Black person. Um, if anything happens that's LGBTQ related, it seems like so much more of the league is open to that and embracing of that than if it's anything having to do with Black issues, Latinx issues, anybody else's issues. And I say that way because it seems like when we're noticing or recognizing people of other ethnicities or races or cultures, it's Black and Latinx, and then it's everybody else.
Mm.
And that's something I'm trying to break myself out of as well.
Mhm.
Um, but if anything, here's another example. For about a year to a year and a half, and I say a year and a half because I came into the role when someone else was moving away, moving out of state, and they needed someone to fill in the spot until elections came. So for about a year and a half, I was on the board,
Yep.
which when it was called the board, now it's called the executive leadership team, but back then it was still called the board.
Yeah.
I was director of business development. And one of my responsibilities at that time was to find charities for the 50-50 raffle.
Mhm.
And because I was newly in this position, I wanted to try to find a way to highlight some charities in and around the community that maybe we didn't always highlight. Like we definitely had the Girl Scouts, and I wasn't gonna do anything with the Girl Scouts. They were there, you
Yep.
know. But the year that I did that, I lined up Vibrant Health. Vibrant Health. They're an organization that serves um, health needs for people who are lower income, particularly Latinx community.
Okay.
And it's in the Kansas City, Kansas area.
Yep.
Operation Breakthrough over here on the Kansas City, Missouri side serves low income families with daycare and childcare, particularly Black
Yep.
low income families. And I noticed, and I never said anything about this until now because it was something that I kind of blocked out of my mind until recently as part of my own racial awareness.
Yeah.
It seemed like if it was a charity that was either white led or white serving, there was more support in and out of the league than if it was a charity that was minority owned or minority serving. And I don't even know if people noticed that they did that.
Yeah.
And I noticed that because, say, for the 50-50 raffle, what I tried to do, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, was I tried to get information about each charity and try to get that to the league. So when we were promoting the 50-50 raffle in advance, then each person could share our 50-50 raffle is for this organization. Here's some information about what they do in an effort to try to get more people to come in and hopefully more money raised for that 50-50 raffle.
Yeah.
The ones that served minority populations or were minority headed or minority ran, they didn't get as much money as the ones that were not minority held, minority ran. And that's
Wow.
not including Girl Scouts because Girl Scouts is this whole other entity.
Right.
I mean, Girl Scouts is like, boom, we gonna give you money, cookies, you know.
Yeah.
But and it felt like the minority serving um, community organizations weren't publicized by other skaters as much. And then on the days of the games, it felt like the audiences weren't wanting to contribute as much funds
Yeah.
for them, which I did take kind of personally, not in a not in a way that I was thinking, oh, y'all just being racist. I
Yeah.
took it personally in a way that maybe I don't have a good way of picking worthy organizations that people will want to give their money to.
Yeah.
I don't think that anymore. I think no, folks were being racist and they didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And I maybe racist isn't the way to say it. One of the things that I have been working through lately is how white supremacy shows up
Yep.
in my life and also in experiences that I've had. And now that I look back at it, white supremacy, one of the tenets of white supremacy is thinking that if it's not of you or not serving you, then it's not that important. And why should I care?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that type of mentality was going into not only the audiences not giving money because, these people, this organization doesn't serve me, it serves those people. Why should I care? And also maybe of the skaters, this isn't an organization that I have a need for. Why should I care?
Yeah.
This is an organization that serves me or anybody that looks like me. Why should I care?
Yeah. Do you think there also might be a little bit of this probably sounds horrible, but well, those people are in the situation that they are because of a reason. That's what I find a lot is, when I
Mhm.
when I see people who are, saying things like, "Well, I'm not a racist." But then
But
yeah, but and then they bring up things like, well, they're on welfare or they're on and it's you know, people not understanding that generations of, again, like thinking back to your grandmothers who
mm,
were being traded and sold off and didn't have land given to them, and going back to the truce line of
mm,
there were real estate laws being written where Black people were not allowed to own property. I mean, there are so many things that go back generations and generations that I think people just they don't know about it or they don't care about it. They just don't get it. It doesn't click with them because they've had opportunity that they just think everybody has had.
mhm. And it becomes so ingrained, those thought processes about, oh, well, you're black, so you must be fast, you must be sporty, you must be
Yeah,
on welfare, you must have this tragic story, you must have a deadbeat dad,
yeah,
you must have come from the projects. All of these stereotypes and errant beliefs about what blackness is just get so ingrained that it's not out here in the open anymore. It's like cellular level in some cases. I
yeah,
like to say it's baked in the bread.
yeah,
It's not just a separate ingredient anymore. It's baked into the bread and we're all eating it.
yeah,
So I would not be surprised if that type of thought was happening for some folks without them even realizing it. Because again, it's not the separate ingredient anymore. It's part of the meal, baked
yeah.
into the meal.
What do you think can start to change that mentality?
Whew.
I know, and I mean, we can keep it in in the context of derby too. I mean, again, we're talking about a sport where everybody says we're so inclusive, we're progressive, we're all of these things. I mean, how can people start to challenge themselves and start to think differently about what the bread they're consuming?
Yeah. What they're putting into their bodies.
Yeah.
Um, I I think this answer can apply derby or not.
Mhm.
White folks gotta start being brave, man.
Yeah.
Really do. And when I say that, I mean, don't just automatically react and overreact if someone is telling you what you did or what you said or how you're thinking or how you're implementing this policy. That's got some racist foundations to it. That's got some racist overtones, undertones. That's just flat out racist. Don't don't just and say, how dare you call me a racist? Notice that I didn't say that you were a racist. I said what you're doing is racist. The way you're thinking is racist.
Mhm.
The way this policy is being implemented it's got some foundations in racism. But if white folks react in a way that's like, oh my God, you're calling me a racist, I have to stop this conversation. How dare you attack my personal integrity? I am not a racist. And then you never get to the other part of the conversation where we can try to fill you in on this racist action that you're doing, this racist policy that you're implementing, this racist thought that you're having. This is how it affects me. This is how it hurts me. This is how it hurts other people that look like me. This is how it distances me from you. And then we got to deal with that fallout.